Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Together, let us explore a fascinating yet deeply unsettling truth about narcissists and their treatment of those around them. One critical realization is that their behavior is not uniquely tailored to the individual. It is, in fact, a universal pattern. At their core, narcissists treat everyone in much the same way. This is a pivotal insight into their mindset, one that reveals why their actions are so calculated, their torment so deliberate, and their ultimate goal so devastatingly predictable. Their need to control and harm is not personal, it is intrinsic to how they navigate the world. The essence of a narcissist's behavior lies in their relentless desire to cause suffering. But this isn't just about making others feel small or insignificant, although that alone brings them gratification. No, the narcissist seeks a deeper level of destruction. They want their victims to endure specific forms of pain, to lose in ways that echo the narcissist's own deepest fears. This projection of their insecurities is both deliberate and revealing. For the narcissist, inflicting the suffering they dread most serves a dual purpose. It reinforces their perceived superiority while ensuring their victims remain ensnared in a web of despair. Let's delve deeper into this dynamic. The narcissist's most crippling fears are the very same vulnerabilities they believe exist universally. They assume that what would shatter them must surely devastate others as well. This projection becomes their blueprint for manipulation. And so, they craft scenarios that reflect their inner fears, hoping to see their victims crumble under the weight of these imagined weaknesses. By orchestrating these moments of failure or despair, the narcissist momentarily quiets their own insecurities, finding fleeting solace in the suffering of others. Interestingly, there are three specific ways a narcissist wishes to see their victims fail or suffer, ways that mirror their own most dreaded insecurities. These fears are rooted in the narcissist's fragile sense of self, and while I won't dive into the exact nature of these vulnerabilities here, it's important to understand the reasoning behind their actions. Narcissists are acutely aware of their own emotional wounds, and their strategy is to ensure that those wounds are inflicted on others. By doing so, they not only protect their ego but also perpetuate their belief that everyone is as fragile, fearful, and flawed as they are. In this cycle of projection and pain, the narcissist's true nature is laid bare. They are not simply tormentors, they are deeply insecure individuals who weaponize their fears to maintain control. They thrive on the belief that by breaking others, they can remain whole. But this approach is inherently flawed, revealing not strength, but a profound weakness, a desperate need to mask their vulnerabilities by projecting them onto those around them. As we reflect on this, remember the narcissist's treatment of others is not a reflection of who their victims are, but rather of who the narcissist is. Their actions stem from their inner chaos, and their need to destroy stems from their inability to confront their own fears. By understanding this, we can begin to break free from their influence and reclaim our sense of self. The three wounds that shatter the narcissist. For a narcissist, nothing is more painful than the sting of abandonment, the humiliation of exposure, and the bitterness of being insulted. Ironically, these are the very weapons they wield against others, yet they remain their deepest vulnerabilities. When confronted with these realities, the narcissist experiences profound shame, a shame so consuming that it triggers a cascade of reactions, much like a destructive chain reaction unraveling their carefully constructed facade. When a narcissist is exposed, the fragile house of cards they've built begins to crumble. The truth about who they truly are, liars, cheaters, manipulators, imposters, and even malevolent schemers, comes to light. All the qualities they work tirelessly to conceal under layers of deception are laid bare. This exposure not only risks them being abandoned by their key sources of validation, often referred to as their supply, but also leaves them vulnerable to ridicule and insult. The narcissist's greatest fear is to be confronted with the unvarnished truth of their existence, stripped of their false personas. This harsh reality is why they go to extreme lengths to avoid exposure. Yet when faced with such a situation, Their typical response is to retreat, executing what can only be described as a disappearing act to escape the inevitable fallout. The narcissist's weapon, the smear campaign. Understanding their own vulnerabilities, narcissists project their deepest fears onto others. To protect themselves, they turn to their most insidious tool, the smear campaign. This calculated assault is their way of flipping the script. They aim to tarnish the reputation of their victims by exposing them in a distorted and deceitful light. Their goal is simple but devastating: to manipulate others into abandoning and insulting their targets, effectively isolating them and mirroring the narcissist's own core fears. What makes this tactic even more sinister is its foundation in fabrication. Narcissists are acutely aware of their own inauthenticity, and this knowledge drives their envy and resentment toward genuine, authentic individuals. When a narcissist encounters someone who is unapologetically real, someone whose life is not a web of lies or a hollow performance, they feel deeply threatened. This realization forces them into action. To counteract the threat, they construct a distorted narrative, painting their victim as unworthy, dishonest, or unpleasant. The smear campaign is their weapon of choice to dismantle the integrity of others, diverting attention away from their own flaws and ensuring their false image remains intact. The vicious cycle of fear and projection. In their attempt to destroy others, narcissists unknowingly expose their own vulnerabilities. The irony lies in their efforts to create chaos for their victims while battling the very fears that consume them: abandonment, exposure, and insult. Their relentless drive to maintain control and superiority blinds them to the truth. By attempting to shatter others, they reveal the cracks in their own foundation. Their smear campaigns and manipulative tactics only serve to highlight the emptiness and fragility of their existence. Ultimately, a narcissist's life revolves around avoiding their three greatest fears, yet their actions often bring those fears to life. Exposure forces them to confront the truths they so desperately seek to hide. Abandonment reminds them of their inability to form genuine connections, and insults strip away the illusion of perfection they cling to. For all their schemes and strategies, the narcissist remains trapped in a cycle of self-inflicted pain, forever running from the mirror of reality. A smear campaign orchestrated by a narcissist often begins subtly, almost imperceptibly. At first it might seem like harmless gossip or a passing comment, but as time goes on and their influence deepens, the campaign takes on a life of its own. Behind the scenes, the narcissist meticulously gathers an army of flying monkeys, enablers who unwittingly or willingly support their narrative. They invest time and effort into weaving an intricate web of deceit, tarnishing your reputation while keeping their hands clean. To your face they wear a disarming smile, offering praise and compliments. Yet the moment you turn your back, they twist the knife, spreading falsehoods that paint you in the worst possible light. What makes their tactics so devastating is not just the betrayal but the duality of their actions. The same person who builds you up in public is tearing you down in private. They revel in manipulating perceptions, ensuring that while they play the role of a concerned friend or ally, you are cast as the villain in their carefully curated narrative. And for them, the ultimate triumph lies in gaslighting you to the point of self-doubt. Slowly, methodically, they chip away at your confidence, independence, and even your sense of reality. When they've pushed you to the brink of despair, they stand back and let the world believe their lies, that you're unstable, irrational, or crazy. This gaslighting isn't just a weapon, it's a strategy, a cornerstone of their campaign to transform the false image they've created of you into a shared reality. By distorting your sense of self and eroding your credibility, they blur the lines between truth and fiction. The smear campaign becomes a powerful tool not just to isolate you from others, but to reshape the very way people see you. Their ultimate goal is to make you appear as the deceitful, selfish, or unstable one, while they emerge as the victim or hero of their own story. Perhaps the most insidious part is how they frame you as the one pretending, the one wearing a mask. They sow doubt, planting seeds that you are the faker person unworthy of trust or sympathy. Narcissists excel at this because they are dramatic, convincing, and unrelenting in their pursuit of control. Their performances are so polished, so calculated, that even those who initially resist their narrative may eventually succumb to their manipulations. Through all this, it's important to remember their actions are not a reflection of your worth but of their deep-seated insecurities and need for dominance. Recognizing their patterns and reclaiming your narrative is the first step toward breaking free from their toxic grip. In the face of their relentless campaign, staying grounded in your truth becomes your most powerful weapon. Narcissists are masters of manipulation, skilled at weaving a toxic narrative that isolates their targets and sows seeds of doubt in the minds of others. Their ultimate goal is not merely to undermine you, but to orchestrate a systematic campaign of alienation. Through these relentless smear campaigns, they seek to transform how others perceive you, turning admiration into suspicion, trust into doubt, and friendships into cold indifference. These campaigns are their weapon of choice, meticulously designed to ensure that those closest to you confront you, insult you, and ultimately abandon you. Their desire is to leave you standing alone, burdened by shame and broken by despair, all while they revel in the destruction they have caused. For the narcissist, these acts are not random or accidental, they are deliberate. The smear campaign allows them to project their own deepest fears onto their victims, forcing us to live the nightmare they dread most. In their twisted world, it's not enough to manipulate or deceive, they must see the pain they inflict mirrored back in our lives, as if our suffering validates their own fragile sense of power. And even if their narrative is built on lies, they rely on their flying monkeys, those manipulated by the narcissist, to amplify their deceit and ensure that the hurt cuts even deeper. But what fuels this relentless cruelty? At their core, narcissists are driven by an insatiable need to control and a profound inability to face their own vulnerabilities. They harbor resentment toward anyone who dares to see their true selves, even those who offer them unconditional love. For most of us, the idea of wishing our darkest fears on another is unimaginable. But for the narcissist, it's second nature. They not only wish it, they actively orchestrate it. Their hearts are set on conflict and chaos, and they thrive on perpetuating strife wherever they go. This is why it is crucial to guard yourself against their influence. Never be deceived into believing that a narcissist has your best interests at heart. Their charm and seemingly genuine concern are nothing more than tools to further their agenda. Trusting a narcissist is akin to walking willingly into a trap, one that is painstakingly designed to strip you of your peace, your relationships, and your sense of self. Their behavior is not something they can control, nor is it something they desire to change. It is ingrained, persistent, and entirely self-serving. I hope this message resonates with you and offers a sense of clarity. If you've encountered these patterns in your own life, remember that knowledge is power. Awareness is the first step to breaking free from their influence. Please feel free to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I would love to hear from you.